Oh, there's a beautiful group right there. You guys, kids, huh?
That's my dad and his 3 little ones, and that's me.
That you on the bottom left there, kind of the middle?
Yeah, in the middle. Yeah.
And who's that dime on his lap, huh? And I mean that respectfully, I'm such a child. Who's that beautiful young lady?
Yeah, that's my little sister, Lacey J.
Oh,
yeah,
Lacey J?
Lacey J. Yeah, named after Lacey J. Dalton, another country singer. And but yeah, she's his little girl, and yeah, she is beautiful, and she's a beautiful person in general. She's really kept our whole family, like me and my brother right there, we're like Irish twins. We're only like a year and a few months apart, so we grew up beating the hell out of each other. We were both boxers. My dad, right there in this picture, he had just won, the Golden Gloves for like the 3rd or 4th time in a row, and he was probably just running over to like Olin Mills or somewhere at Walmart and grabbing this picture real quick. So just that there's proof that we existed and proof that he did this. And I always find it wild that he had time to even
figure this out,
snap that picture amidst his life. It was so crazy at the time.
And for a dad to put that together, that didn't, that wasn't really the dad world. So he was a single dad raising you guys?
Yeah, he was driving a bus in the morning and then working at a body shop and training to be a boxer. He was wanting to be a pro boxer, but a lot of things, he had to really kind of focus on being a dad and kind of had to put his boxing career, because he really had a very promising career ahead of him. And so a lot of my dreams, I live kind of, for him and myself, because he put a lot of his dreams on the back burner to raise me. But he also created me. So he kind of had to do that. But a lot of people don't take that responsibility. And when I see that picture, I have like you said, a memory.
He either got he's got great dimples, or somebody caught him with 2 good.
No, yeah,
hooks.
He's got great dimples. Yeah,
he does.
My
Okay,
little
I was
sister
gonna guess.
has the same ones. And but yeah, I see that guy right there. And about a year from that picture, he would have been curling my little sister's hair and getting her ready for kindergarten. And even though his eyes were swollen shut from sparring the night before, I have like distinct memories of him like getting her ready for school and being like a dad to a very young little girl, crimping her hair and curling it, and being a dad, being a dad, but also doing feminine things, because there was no one to do the feminine thing. So he was like, I got to be dad. And he was really good, and he knew how to do the dad dude part. Like he had me and my brother boxing every night, and we were hunting and fishing and doing all the dude things. But he had to be a dad to a little girl that was like the light of his life. And that was like quite the responsibility. And I look back on that, and I have, like I said, just such a distinct memory of him curling her hair, while morning cartoons are playing right before we got on the school bus. And he was quite the dude.
What was his name?
Stephen Wilson.
Oh, he was
senior. Yes.
You just never know. Sometimes they'll throw a junior on somebody just because they don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I know.
Or they're just a NASCAR fan. They'll tack it onto the back of their kid's name.
Pick that. Like a donkey tail, they just put it on there like a junior. No.
We'll pin the tail on this child, But
no, I'm very much a junior. It's very much a thing in boxing, especially I joke around that my dad, he was named after a martyr in the Bible. Like my grandmother named him after a guy that was had rocks thrown at him until he died in the Bible. Mm-hmm. Stephen with a PH, by the way, and which makes a lot of sense because I'm pretty sure my dad was stoned when I was born. That's the joke. And,
the pH level of his brain was probably weed. Probably then it might have been plus 40. Then depends on if he was on some serious gas or not.
He did like perhaps the.
Oh, you had to back then.
The country cabbage.
One thing you said that was interesting a little bit ago was you said that your dad was a boxer and he did these things, and then sometimes you're living out some of your dad's dreams.
Yeah.
And I find that to be interesting that we feel like that as sons, or that some sons feel that way.
Yeah.
And then also that some dads will make sacrifices, like you're saying, like, and it wasn't like it was his choice that he made, it wasn't like a sacrifice, but sometimes even with choices, then come sacrifices that you don't see. And then you have to make another choice then as to what do I do here? But that, like by giving birth to a son, by having an offspring, you are creating something that can go the next leg, almost like it's one of those races where they pass the baton. What is that called?
Yeah, I think a baton race.
Yeah, a baton race. And it's not hard. It's not as hard as it seems.
I'm not sure. It may not be called that. It may be something way more complex. There it is, a relay race.
Baton race, relay race. But it's like, this is as far as I can get. And let me put this into you but then it's interesting as the next runner, as the next generation is, wow. How much do I owe to this previous generation to carry on their dream? Do I owe anything? What does it mean to be a son? Like all those things kind of were popping into my head as you were saying that.
Wow. A generational relay race is not something I've put, to thought regarding all that, but that is very accurate, observation there, because when you see a relay race, like the first runner or whatever, the runner before you, the runners before you, like dictate how fast you're going to run, and they dictate your position in the race.
Yeah.
So like if they're running with everything they got, well then you're only like doing a disservice to their effort by not running with everything you got.
Right.
And so, that baton becomes something bigger than just this thing you're holding in your hand. It's like the sum of all their efforts.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, and I think we used to hear a lot more. I think when families, and this is a hypothetical, but when families seemed closer and we needed more entertainment from our fathers and forefathers, and we got lore passed down and family history, when there was more storytelling, when you couldn't get as much storytelling from like phones and television and stuff as we can in the past few generations, but when it came from like those, the predecessors of ours and our forefathers and mothers, that kind of stuff, it like beat inside of us like a drum,
Yeah.
What kind of, did you feel a pressure? Like, and did something your father passed away?
Yeah, he passed away 7 years ago at the age of 59, and it happened. Yeah, he was very young, and it was a sudden thing, and it was.
Was he sick?
Well, he had like this pulmonary fibrosis thing that was starting, but he ended up dying of a pulmonary embolism, like a blood clot in his lungs, and it was a very sudden thing that I don't think anybody really expected. And
he was living in Indiana.
He was living in southern Indiana, and he was doing quite well, and like everything kind of changed in about 6 months, and then he suddenly this embolism showed up, and I tried to get there because his body was like shutting down. And,
what do you mean? So an embolism? Can you bring it up just so I know, Trevin? Sorry to interrupt you, Stephen.
No, don't.
I just
sorry.
like sometimes I've let information fly and I don't know what it is. An embolism, a pulmonary embolism, is a blood clot that travels to and blocks an artery in the lungs, cutting off normal blood flow and oxygen exchange and creating a potentially life-threatening emergency. So had this been happening for a while and then it got bad?
Yeah, and so he had some things going on that he never knew was happening, and then it got to that life-threatening emergency point, and then there is a point where they can only do so much, and he was a bit of a cowboy, and those kind of classic dudes that don't want to go to the doctor and I'll tough it out kind of thing. I'm sure there was a lot of that mentality going into it. Also, there was poor health care. He was a victim of the American healthcare system too in that regard. I won't get into all that, but yeah, like that was a big part of it.
We've talked about that a lot over the years. It's a nightmare, and the stress they put people through trying to deal with their own taking care of themselves. It's like, it's a nightmare.
Especially at his age, at 59, he was starting to feel like, oh, you're just like a forgotten human. They don't, they don't really want to take care of you. They want to do everything but that. Like you got to fight tooth and nail to take care of yourself, and that, at least where he was at that time. And I got a really panicked call from my sister that morning. Said, "You need to get here like now. Like Dad is very sick and we don't know what's happening." And they rushed him to the emergency room. And I jumped in my car and sped up there, and I said goodbye to him in the middle of Kentucky on the side of I-65 on an iPhone 8 on the side of a highway. And that was
pulled over to make it quieter.
Yeah. And just so I didn't lose signal, I was so worried that, because, the middle of Kentucky is the middle of nowhere. And like, what if I drop the call? Like, yeah. And, so I just pulled over it was insane. The sound of like semis flying by me at like 90 miles an hour, but literally being I felt like I was in a bubble, like not like the world stopped around me in that little car. Like a semi could have taken the side of that car off. I wouldn't even had known it, or, I was in a state of absolute shock and horror. It was a very traumatizing experience.
And you were on a FaceTime call?
No, it was just on a video or a normal phone call.
Was he able to speak to you?
He was, and he
did he know that it could be like his last moment?
He knew he was dying.
Bothering you by asking you this?
No, I talk about it a lot on stage. I kind of relive it every night, and that's been a challenge for me, like mentally, kind of. But it's also been like the beautiful part of unpacking trauma and grief, because I'm not. Like our music, like really, it finds the grieving, and I think it's important for me to grieve as well. Like I go through grief every night, and but he was such a gangster in that moment. He knew he had maybe 90 seconds left on this earth. He knew he was going, not just going, but going fast. He even told me, he's like, "I'm going, Stephen," and. Sorry. But yeah, he was so calm about it. He said everything's going to be okay.
Oh,
that was his first thing he said, like such a dad thing to say. And he said, "Write a good song for me, Stephen." And he said, "I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you," 4 times. And
he wanted you to know for sure.
Yeah, he wanted there to be no doubt. And so I say it more than once all the time now, because I from that experience, I kind of realized that people are counting, and I was counting, and it was weird. Like on that last "I love you," it's almost like his voice got quieter, like he was literally being pulled, like God was snatching him from the universe in that last "I love you."
Wow.
And he was gone 30 seconds later.
Oh.
And that was it. I was the last person he spoke to, and I'm really grateful that I got to speak to him. And in that moment, in that car, I was so angry at God. I was so angry at him, even my dad. I was like, "How dare you die on me like this? Like that's, it wasn't supposed to happen. Like none of it was supposed to happen like that." Yeah. Like I was under the impression he was invincible, first of all. And he was just so young, and he was just such a, just such a lively, such a bright light. So it didn't seem possible. And even to people in my hometown, they were in disbelief when he died. Like it was like, because his life force was so big that people were in denial. It was like, "That's impossible. There's no way he could be dead." And I was like, "No, he really is." And it was a tough thing to really come to terms with. But with any great reaction or any like chemical reaction, there is a catalyst. And I have to say, the reason I'm here and the reason I'm anywhere right now is because of that conversation. It was, you have a product and a reactant, and then there's a catalyst, and that conversation is what catalyzed my whole career.
Really?
And that write a good song for me, Stephen. Was like a lifetime's worth of jet fuel for me to charge across the galaxy and do everything I could to try and keep him alive. To try and just tell the world about him, and that, you know,
Carry out his wish.
Yeah, I mean, what I found out is like carrying out his wish and keeping him alive was keeping so many other people that other folks have lost, other humans have lost, alive. He was resurrecting other people at the same time, and these people were coming to shows with this bounty of love that had no place to go, and that's what grief is essentially. And I gave them, these songs have given them a home for at least maybe 3.5 or 4 minutes, and and that's really been the charge of all of this. I've been trying to make him proud my whole life, but
what did he said? Write a song for me or make us? What did he say? Sorry,
write a
I'm
good
fucking
song
leaking over here.
No, man, I leak all the time.
Dude, I listen to stuff that makes me cry all the time because I think I'm just full of tears and I got to get these bitches out, even though I'm dehydrated half the time. So I'm like, I don't even know what's going on here, dude.
No, it's good for you. Like when my dad died, I swear all I did was cry for 2 years. It's all I did.
You got to get it out.
If you can find the tears, find them. Like right now, I can't find them.
Yeah.
I mean, even though I get emotional, don't get me wrong, but
yeah, sometimes you have tears and sometimes you don't. It's like almost like seasons, you know? It's almost like an ocean. Sometimes it comes up on the shore and sometimes it's out to sea, you know, even though it's, it lives
it's a
right.
tide.
Yeah. So it's like, and especially I think people that have had like a lot of things in their life that have happened that haven't been processed, it takes a long time. And I think I've gotten grateful in my life over time where if I find something that helps me process, I'll sit there and process it. My brother says a lot of times, he's like, yeah, getting rid of grief and like trauma, like that old stuff. And people use trauma as a buzzword, but getting rid of grief and stuff from the past, he's like, it's like taking pennies out of a bathtub one at a time. He's like, it takes a long time and it's slow and it's just kind of arduous work. But you just be grateful that it can kind of happen over time. What he said, make a good song for me.
Write a good song for me.
Write a good song for me.
Yeah, because he knew that's all I could think about. And
that's the baton, man. That's the baton.
Yeah, he used to come to all my shows. And when I say shows, like playing for 7 people at a writer's round. Or and he came to the Bluebird Cafe. I remember had his giant, you remember when they had those giant phones that were like the size of laptops, But,
those T-Mobile sidekicks? Yeah, baby, them bitches was beautiful.
Yeah, he had one of those bad boys, and he would just hold it up and record the whole show. But he used to drive me crazy. And
dude, there's nothing crazier than watching like a boomer kind of like record something, or even just somebody from a generation above. We went to the UFC fights the other day, and some guy was recorded every single fight. I'm like, he had a front row seat. And he was recording, and there was a TV right next to him playing the fights. I'm like, you can just go home and watch. Like, I just didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was there and that he cared so much about it and that he loved watching you do it.
Yeah, there was this one song that's on the record called "I'm a Song." And he watched me play that for the first time at Bluebird Cafe. I'd just written it like that week.
Right over here?
Yeah, Bluebird Cafe, and he had his gigantic phone. I'll never forget. And I was like, Dad, please put your phone down. But he recorded that whole song, and then he called me a week later, kept talking about that song. And about a month before he died, it was Father's Day weekend, I came up to see him. And we went to a tractor pull, and then we went home and watched some fights. And he goes, hey, Steven, you know that song you played at the Bluebird like a month ago? It's called "I'm a Song." And I was like, whoa, how do you even know that? Like, I because I was in that point of like writing, 200 songs a year. I was writing, 10 songs a week. So like a month ago, like that, "I'm a Song" was like 50 songs ago. So I was like, oh, yeah, I know that. And he's like, yeah, you played at the Bluebird Cafe. And he's like, that's my favorite song. And I was like, oh, thank you, Dad. And you're like, I thought he meant like it's my favorite song, his favorite song of mine. And he was like, no, listen to me. That's my favorite song ever.
Wow.
And I was like, how are you even listening to it? He'd been listening to me play it on the Bluebird on his gigantic T-Mobile, whatever that thing is, and that's how he was actually my first fan, and he was the he would breathe so much life into me. He believed in me so much more than I ever believed in myself, and I remember him saying, "You should sing that song," and when he died, I sang it at his funeral.
Oh,
And it was one of the hardest songs I've ever sang. But in that moment, like that was when, I knew things were about to change. And, but yeah, and that song has helped so many people. And it's, I don't know, it's been a bit of a thesis statement for me. And so when he said, write a good song for me, he knew I had already written one, at least in his eyes, because it was his favorite song ever. So he knew, at least he had proof on his phone that I was capable of writing something great. And I guess his last charge was to please keep going and don't stop.